It's from our last meeting, which was April the 24th.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move we accept them as written.
All right, got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? All right, moving on down to number 3. This must be Mr. Carl's financial report.
Yeah, just what we have in the bank at the moment is 121,873, because that includes the 72,000 from the city for the gateway signage.
That's in Tracy's account we're talking about now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's talking about, because we're talking about DDA right now.
Okay.
And so we've got that, and then the city funding is at 35,000 right now. That amount that the city gave that we're tracking. That's it. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of activity in it, except for the big deposit from the city for the gateway signage, and we made a payment to the city of $3,600 for that gateway signage. Other than that, it's just legal fees and such, so.
Any questions?
Wait a minute, we made a payment to the city?
I'm sorry, we made a payment to Signworks Pro for $3,600
Okay.
for the gateway
Made
signage.
another one since then, right?
We just
Okay.
did one.
Okay.
We're doing a deposit.
No, this only shows the first payment.
Okay. Any questions from Carl?
No, but I do appreciate you doing this, Carl.
That's no problem.
Okay, moving on down to number 4, downtown development. Must be Chris's EBT processing for farmers market.
Yes, so as you may remember, may not remember, one of the parts of servicing the debt for the Welcome Center is the farmers market and trying to grow that. We have gotten approval to accept EBT, which has been a big issue in the previous years, and that was kind of the thing everybody wanted, was for us to be able to do EBT. We got approval of that. Sharon worked on that, and we got our packet last week and everything that we need. Right now, what we need to do is get a processing machine. Basically, it's very similar to a credit card terminal, but it's for EBTs come on a card, basically just like a bank card that gets preloaded. What they would do is they would come to the farmer's market. We would charge that card and then give them wooden tokens that they would then take to the vendors to get their product. Then at the end of the night, those vendors bring the tokens back to us, and then we give a payment to them in the amount of whatever the tokens are that they collected. So that's the way the federal government allows us to convert the EBT into cash for us.
Got a question, go ahead, Chris. Now, you give the tokens out, but some of these people are not food vendors.
Right. No, only food vendors can accept them. So they'll know the food, because if a merchant takes it, the merchant's not going to get their refund. They just lost that money.
Food items.
Yeah, right.
And what is the processing fee? Is it still $50 a month?
So it's a flat $75 per month, and that is unlimited transactions. And then we got the one-time setup fee waived. It was a $50 setup fee, so that's been waived. So it'd basically be the $75 a month for the processing. And so we will have to provide to them the corporate name, tax ID, and bank and routing information, because they deposit the money into our account. But before, I just wanted to make the DDA aware, because obviously that's going to be transactions that's going to be happening.
That's why I dropped my EBT. I didn't do probably $100 a month in EBT trade, so they charged me $75 a month, so it was really a losing proposition.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll have enough vendors to?
I think a lot of farmers market advertise the EBT, and the government's really heavily promoting farm fresh produce, which is why they allow us to accept the EBT. So it'll be good for, and of course we can monitor it. If it's something that doesn't work for us, then we can always terminate the contract. So
How has it gone the last couple of weeks? I've been unable to get down for it.
it started off real strong. It's kind of tapered off. From a produce standpoint, it's kind of still early in the season. So we haven't had a ton of farmers, but we've had some craft, and that's really what we were doing to fill in, was craft stuff when we knew that some produce was not going to be readily available. So hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll pick up a lot. And a lot of the vendors, especially the farmers, have been asking about the EBT, because that's something that was a big sticking point the last time we had the market. So now that we've gotten that approved and ready to move forward, I think we'll see an uptick in that, so.
Good.
Any more questions from EBT processing?
What bank are we doing that through?
It would be our bank unless we're going to set up a separate account, the DDA account. We
What
can
bank
set-
are we banking with?
United.
UCB.
United Community, okay.
All right, move on now to number 5, old business.
So we're good with this then moving forward.
Do we
with
need a motion to,
if that'd be fine, if that's what we want to do to move forward, so that way we can get all the count information and everything set up for the terminal.
So this would be an expense of $75 a month, but hopefully it would be paid for by the farmer's market itself?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
if it's not, we can,
Yeah, then
Release it.
yeah.
okay.
for the next year anyway.
Should we just plan on addressing this again, have it on our agenda in 90 days or something, so that we don't miss looking at this again?
We can do that. For sure, for certain, there's going to be an early termination penalty. If we what is it, a year agreement
I'm
or
not
something
sure.
like that?
I'm not sure.
It is a year? Yeah, it's a year.
We'll maybe look at it for next year and see if it.
You're going to be obligated to it at some length of time. They're not just going to let you cancel the contract. Just like if you have credit card processing system at the pharmacy, they have some type of termination clause in there.
The farmer's market works about, 4 months, a year or something?
It goes from August to November now, so it's pretty.
We're going to be paying $900 then for 5 months. Is it really worth investing that in there?
Well, considering the recommendations that we've gotten from everybody, it's generally worth the investment. But you can, we said, look at the usage to see if there's any significant usage of it. If it's not, then we don't have to. But I think that
Is there another way to handle that to begin with, and then when we see that we're getting enough business, that there's enough going on, that it would justify paying that rather than jumping onto this right now? Sometimes it's hard once you get onto something to get off of it.
right. Unfortunately,
This is
because of the way the laws are set up, it's not. They're because there's so much fraud that's in EBT. They're very stringent about how you process that and what kind of relationships you have with people to do that. So there's not a way for us to test it, I guess.
Yeah, that was my problem with EBT. Sometimes you might have $100 sale, and sometimes you might not have $25. You'd be paying $75 no matter what. Yeah, that was my problem, so I just dropped them.
And who's going to, when we have the farmer's market there, who's going to be operating the machine? Is there going to be a cashier there now?
Well, yeah, that would be. Well, Sharon is already managing the market, so that would and be Sharon that would be managing that part of it.
Have a training manual.
Uh-huh.
There's a video, I started watching, I haven't finished watching it, but it's a training manual that I have to go through before we even get started accepting, running the cards and stuff.
How do you get hooked up to that? Is that wireless, or is there going to be a plug-in on the telephone pole that you can plug into, or?
Direct deposit to the bank account, mine was.
Well, there's an internet and a telephone version, so we would sign up for the internet, the wireless version.
So it'll be online at the time all of this is being done?
Yeah.
Okay,
And there'll be about
And
5,
It sounds kind of risky.
Yeah.
Doing wireless internet stuff involving money and banking transactions.
and
I mean, I don't know enough about it to really make a good judgment, but
Well, it's pretty common. It's not anything that I think would be a security risk from our standpoint.
in 4 or 5 months, we'll be charged $75 and not use it at all. Is that right?
Well, it's going to be $75 a month.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the argument is, no farmer's market really operates year round. I mean, so that we're all the farmers market except EBT are all in the same position. So I guess what you're doing is you're basically collecting all of your money in a certain window of time, and then the rest of the time is just kind of paying for, you've collected enough money for it to pay for itself the rest of the year. I can't, I can't say with certainty that, we're going to have a ton of people using this. I will say there are people who have requests from either a farmer standpoint or from customer standpoint for this system. So it'd be hard to gauge because we've never had it here before. I just know that that's been a sticking point. So we've been charged with getting the EBT system, and that's, we've done all the due diligence to make that happen. So I
Yes.
can't give you any guarantees about it.
What is the charge per vendor per day for the farmer's market?
$15 per day. It's $15.
15?
They can pay, for the season, which is $125, or they can pay per day, $15, or a month, $50.
How many vendors did we have at the last one about, do you know?
Last week,
Yeah, the last one, or maybe each of the last 2 weeks or something. How many vendors were there?
last week we ended up with 6, because we had some that, dropped out at the last minute on Monday, due to other circumstances, but,
And the week before, do you recall, was it?
week before was 8, I believe.
Most of your vendors are going to start showing up toward the end of June. June and July and August are going to be your biggest months for your farmers.
We just had another farmer sign up last week, and I received an email from a farmer that I did contact, that, once his crops come in, he'll also join the market.
Yeah.
He said in a few weeks is what he said.
There's very limited things that you can produce in April and May
Unless you have like
in this area.
household, full household.
Yeah. Spinach, lettuce, and onions, radishes.
I'm not really sure that I can feel comfortable about spending $900 a year on this at this point in time, when we have 6 vendors one week, 8 another. And of course, there will be more, but it doesn't sound like there won't be nearly enough to support this thing. I mean, has anybody got another idea?
I'm with you, Tom. I've had EBT before, and it's a seasonal thing. Sometimes you might meet your $75. Sometimes you might go below it. It's coming out of your pocket, so that's why I dropped. That's when they started at $75 a month. It used to be free, but when they started at $75, some months I wouldn't take in 75 at EBT.
And then those charges could change down the road, or there can be issues. I'm not comfortable with it, Chris, at this point in time. I'm just worried about whether or not we'd be getting bang for the buck, and we'd be having that money go out every month. Carl, what do you think?
I think we wouldn't make money on it this year, but I'm thinking of, building it up. And then I'm also thinking of once the Welcome Center opens up, and we have the pop-up shops in there, I'm sure if there's food vendors in there, we'd be able to still take it for that, wouldn't we?
I don't think on edible stuff you can take, you couldn't at my place. You couldn't, if you could eat it on the spot, you could not,
Oh, is that right?
you could not
Okay.
use EBT. Is that
So-
right, Sharon? Yeah.
So would it be usable at other times during the year, or would we only be able to use this for the farmer's market?
As long as you take it home, right?
Produce.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, did you say we've already paid sort of the registration fee or something?
No, we haven't paid anything.
We haven't
We're
paid
bringing
anything.
this to the DDA for consideration yet.
Is that a motion?
I would like the idea just to kind of hold it for a while, and maybe when we got more vendors for it, such as the Welcome Center, maybe there are other things we can add to it when it looks a little bit more like it might at least pay for itself. I would think it would be good to look at, but I don't feel comfortable about it right now.
Have we had vendors not participate because we don't take EBT? Said you've had them ask. Have you had any tell you that they won't do it because of that?
I mean, I don't know. Nobody said anything.
Is it the vendors or the customers that are really wanting to do this?
Yeah. I don't think that, I don't think vendors are not coming because we don't have EBT. I think it helps persuade them more if we did, but I don't know, or it might persuade people that we don't even know that's out there. And I don't know the answers for the customers. I know that it's been talked about in the past. I don't know if this year if we've had any concrete.
Well, personally, I think it's good to have the farmer's market downtown. That's a very positive thing because people do come stop by so it's a good advertising vehicle for people that maybe don't normally come downtown for stuff. So I don't think we should look at it as strictly an economic decision right here. We need to look at it as a service decision too. So an advertising decision. So.
And I guess one thing to help defer cost, I mean, we could look at getting a presenting sponsor, if you will, for the farmer's market. Let's just say for the year it's $2,500 or something like that, and that's going to cover the expense of the terminal. So then we're not really out of any money, and then it's a convenience at that point for someone, which I think is pretty doable because we already have an agreement with Tanner. They already do some things from a marketing standpoint as far as an agreement that we have with them to do the, what is it? Yeah, the pop club. So I think there's potential to get other partners that would make financial contributions to the market.
Well, I think we should go ahead and do it as a service and as an advertisement for downtown. And it's a unique thing, and I go to it a lot during the summer. I haven't been yet this year, but I always go to it when the veggies are there.
So that's a motion from you, Bill?
It is.
All right, do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed?
Can we bring it up again next month?
Yeah.
When we have more people here?
If we get new members, yes.
All right.
All right, moving on down to number 6. Number 5, DDA member, old business.
Yes, we are still accepting applications. I haven't received any applications. I know Mr. Taylor told me he had spoken with some people, but I haven't seen any applications yet.
Really?
Usually Elisa will email those to me. Now, they may have sent them and she might have forgotten, but I usually...
These individuals promised me they would have them in last week.
Okay, I can check with Lisa, but she usually shoots me an email when she gets one. So,
Well,
I haven't gotten anything.
if we
yet.
don't have them, we don't have them, do
Yeah.
we?
This is true.
When is Gary's time up? When is that really a vacancy? Is he supposed to be through this month, or?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
He hasn't had any communication with me. I didn't know he was stepping down. First time I heard about it was at the last meeting.
What about Jody?
Letter of resignation.
Both of them need to-
Stepping down.
Yeah, both of them.
I think her time is up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, she's just filling the space until,
Go off.
Yeah.
He had definitely, his time's not up, need a letter of resignation.
If she's resigned and she's not on the board, can she fill in?
but she hasn't resigned.
She can stay on until we replace her.
Her term is up.
Well, her term is up. Oh, okay. I thought she was, had terminated it. Okay.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Gary has verbally resigned, but he hadn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, he just needs
Resigned
to,
on
if he
paper.
could just send me he can just send me an email to that effect, or I'll email him and,
you got his email address in?
yeah.
I don't know where he's still in Villarica or not.
I talked to his staff the other day, and they said that he and his wife were moving to the Myrtle Beach area, but would be back and forth between there and Villarica quite frequently for the next several months.
It's quite a drive.
It is quite a drive, yeah. Okay,
All right, move on down to number 6, new business.
I don't have anything.
Public comment? Right. Items for future agenda?
I think the farmer's market needs to come back up, although we're gonna have the same 4 here maybe, and it'll still be 2 to 2, but, we can lobby each other along the way.
I think the Doyle's Farmers Market has a good, nice ring to it.
No.
You could sponsor it, and then we'd be able to afford it.
Well, I think the problem is we've kind of held off on a lot of marketing and promotion because the advertisement, we wanted to put EBT in there. So I think, maybe we make it contingent on if we get a sponsor to cover the cost of it. If we get a sponsor, it hasn't cost the DDA anything. And so it's just an added value. So if we can accomplish that between now and before the next meeting, because we'll be waiting 4 weeks to promote that.
And I agree, Chris, that we probably could get a sponsor. In getting sponsors, I think we've got a lot of things planned for down the road, a lot of things we want to do. And, gosh, I'd hate to use up all of our sponsors, our good ones maybe, on, I'd like to use them on the most beneficial things, because I think once they sponsor something and we have something else down the road, it might be hard to get some additional help.
Yeah, but that is true, but there's some people who are only interested in stuff like healthy eating, stuff like that. They're not going to sponsor a Thrill at the Mill or a concert or something like that. I mean, we would identify someone that this is kind of in their wheelhouse. Like there's certain things that Tanner will sponsor, stuff like health and fitness and wellness, but they don't sponsor other stuff. Well, I shouldn't say don't sponsor other stuff. It's not their preference to do other things. They do more healthy lifestyle type stuff. So there are probably other people that we would talk to that we would traditionally talk to, that this would fit more with what they're trying to do.
So the $15 fee per person per week, with an average of, let's say 10 during the height, that would be $150 would go toward the overall expense for the year, correct? Because there's not an extra fee that Sharon gets for doing this, I assume.
No.
And so whatever comes in goes against what's spent on it. And we're not trying to make money on this. This is not a business we're talking about. It's a service and an advertisement. So I think contingent on a sponsor, maybe you can get by with a $300 sponsor, possibly.
Yeah, we can look at it. I mean, we can make it something that would be something that would not be cost prohibitive to the DDA.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9, agenda items.
Well, that didn't.
That's for one.
That didn't help answer my
I know.
question. So if we do find someone to help defer the expense with this, are we good with doing it, or we just want to wait and put it on the agenda in 4 weeks?
You want to bring it back up again with that contingency in it to find a sponsor of at least X dollars? What would you be comfortable with?
Well, I mean, if we get somebody to do, $1,000, $1,500, that's going to cover the transaction fees for the year.
So you want to change your motion, Bill?
I don't understand why you need $1,000, $1,500. If it's $75 a week, a month.
It's $900 a year.
Yeah, that
900 for the year.
That is 900, excuse me. And then, what they pay into the fee is gonna go against the 900, unless I'm missing something here. Is there, a fee the city charges to set up out there?
No. Well, I was saying 1,000, 15 is round numbers. I mean, we could do it for the exact, whatever the 75 is per month. times 12.
$900.
What do we have to ask the bank to be a sponsor of it and just supply that service at no charge?
Well, I think it's the bank that charges the money. It's the processing, the company that does the processing of the EBT.
Yeah, just run through the bank, yeah.
The bank really didn't have anything to do with it. They just deposit, the company that's processing the EBT, they deposit the money into our bank account. So if we had $200 in sales, they're gonna deposit whatever that is minus our
$75.
$75.
Along Bill's point, if we get a sponsor for just 500, I mean, we can shoot for more. But if we
Yeah.
get just 500, we'll make up the rest and, the fees they're paying to be out there.
Right.
Easily.
So if I were to go to the farmer's market and let's just say I wanted $50 to buy some things with, I mean, I guess I don't know how much things are gonna be, but what would I do to just go and Sharon would process it and give me $50 in tokens?
Well, if you wanted to buy it, you'd choose cash.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. EBT is for folks who are on food stamps.
Okay,
So what the government, this program that we're doing, the government has, to make food, healthy food without chemicals and stuff more accessible to people on benefits, they allow farmers markets to accept EBT cards. And so what our hope is that we attract a whole nother demographic that hasn't been coming to the farmers market to this point. We get to make money off of it because then we get the transaction, the money from the transaction. Well, we don't necessarily make money. Money goes back to the farmer, but we recruit more farmers because we have more avenues for them to generate money.
okay. I was thinking it was an electronic banking transaction, so I was on the wrong page. But that dismays me a little more because I thought, like with electronic banking, everybody was a candidate. But if we reduce it to just the folks that are on food stamps, certainly we want to give service to all the people we can. But gosh, how many vendors or customers that come have food stamps? And, even if it doubled the number, because we have that, would it pay for itself?
Well, see, that's the unknown because we don't know, because we don't accept EBT now. We don't know how that number's going to grow. In other words, would people come because they have food stamps and we accept food stamps? Would they come to the farmers market before they go to Walmart? We don't know that because we don't offer that service now. That's why I was saying if we got someone to sponsor, we could defer the cost of what it would cost us. So we're not out of any money at all, regardless if somebody comes or not. But it's still a service that we have available.
I would like to reconsider contingent upon a $500 sponsor.
All right, we're changing that motion. Tracy, did you get that?
Reconsider.
And if we can't raise $400 off of the farmers' fees over the summertime, then we might as well shut it down anyway.
We've already collected more than that in
Yeah.
just the first couple of weeks.
So
That's a motion for
You know,
Bill.
we're not in this thing to make money.
All right, to reconsider allowing EBT processing contingent upon a $500 sponsor.
All right, is that a motion from Bill? Do I have a second?
It is.
Yes, I'll second.
All right, all in favor? All opposed?
Oh, we picked up one.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
All
we
we
needed.
needed.
All right, so now where we're down to, number 9, agenda.
Sorry, it came to me. I was like, well, let's look at it like this.
Together, I think we're on executive session now, if there is any.
Okay. Miss Stacy's not here, so I hope we don't have anything for executive session. Okay.
You asked me to keep the meeting short today,
All right,
so.
that's what we were talking about coming in, short meeting. All right, have a motion to adjourn? Second. All right, all in favor? All right,
Start the
we'll-
next one.
We'll turn over to the Tourism Board. Do I have a motion to accept these minutes from our April 24th meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor? financial reports.
I'll make this one quick, just like the last one. Just currently in the bank, in the tourism account is $12,220, and we haven't. The stuff we've paid for recently since the last meeting was some advertising that we were doing, and some giveaway items for advertising. We have received the money from the city up through April. It's kind of dropped a little bit. March and April was only 4,900. March and April together was only 4,900. So the tax collections have gone down. But with the bills that are out there right now, hopefully that's going to be up soon with the higher percentage that they're trying to get through.
When will the extra percent come in, Chris? What month?
We're thinking July 1. Sarah and I are working with the tax people. I think it's Department of Community Affairs to figure out when we can actually go ahead and initiate that. So we're still going through, but the governor signed off on it, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's law. So we're good to go from that perspective.
Is the Holiday Inn Express still on schedule for next month?
I think that they've moved it back to July now. They've had some delays, some weather type stuff and all. So we spoke with the general manager. She came in maybe last week before, said they've moved it back a couple of weeks. So we're looking around July.
Right.
That'll help out a lot with collection as well.
All right, moving on down to tourism advisory board members. Is that yours, Sharon, or is that Chris's?
That's Miss Sharon. You asked us to bring back a community
Right.
person, and Miss Sharon has identified that person. And
Caroline Cox, which is so weird.
Who is it, Sharon?
Caroline Cox.
Used to be Caroline Bailey. Got the little solar place on the front street.
Embroidery across the street.
Oh, yeah.
214
Yeah.
West Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline. L-E-N.
it's Caroline.
Caroline.
So do we need a motion on that, Chris? Can you go over the members again? Or do you have a list with you? You didn't bring it with you. Well, the list you had last month plus Caroline Cox then.
That was in the minutes from last month. I
Yeah,
think.
it's in the minutes.
I don't see the names in here though.
It's P.G. Patel from Comfort Inn and Suites, Mike Clanton from Chat and Chew from the restaurant industry, Wesley Behringer from Pine Mountain Gold Museum, Casey Cole from State Farm is the Main Street appointment. From Parks and Recreation, we have Janet Chumley, and Caroline would be our general public person.
You all approved all of those people except for this community person and someone from this board.
Right.
Last meeting.
Well, I move we accept this new member that is proposed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
And I think we need to have the two vacant seats filled before we do the other one.
Okay.
Or we'll just go ahead and appoint one of them before they even
There you go.
Whoever sits in that chair.
Dun, dun, dun. You don't even tell them. They just show up and sit down. And they be like, oh.
Do y'all have any meetings planned anytime soon?
We were waiting to get the board.
Do you have to have a full board to have a meeting?
No, I think we can probably schedule something shortly.
Yeah.
All right, moving on down to B, marketing sponsorship request, Thomas A. Darcy.
Yes, the standing tourism entity before us had some organizations that traditionally always gotten some type of contribution from the Tourism Bureau. Thomas Dorsey being one of those groups. This is a request for them. They haven't given a number. This is their sponsorship package. This is a 2-day festival, which most of our requests are only for 1 day and generally are smaller festivals. This is a Friday and a Saturday event. an event that's been going on, for 20 years now, so it's pretty much a staple in the community. And I think that everybody here has at least been or knows about the Thomas Dorsey Festival.
What was last year's amount?
I think it was around 15. I think this $1,500 is what the tourism board did last year.
And that is just for marketing, right?
Right.
It is not the green room or VIP parking and so forth.
Well, that's what you're sponsoring, but the money goes to pay for the marketing and advertising of the event. But this is the benefit that you get
We get from them.
for being a sponsor.
What are the wishes then of the board?
I would be in favor of doing another $1,500 to help them.
All right, do we have a second on that?
I second.
All right, motion is second, all in favor?
Does that, I'm sorry, does 1,500,
It don't get you nothing on here though.
doesn't get our name on there anyway, or anywhere like,
I mean, I'm sure
or as a
they're,
board or something?
yeah, I'm sure they'd be nice to
Be
you.
on there somewhere, okay.
We've got a motion and a second, all in favor? So that's about what we gave them last year, the tourism gave them last year. All right, moving on down to number 5, old business.
I don't have anything.
Any new business? Public comment? Items for future agendas? Executive session, I'm moving on.
Before we get too far gone, Butterballs, what's the status of the contract on that?
We have, well, the RFP is out for the roof. The mandatory pre-bid meeting is June the 5th, so all the contractors that want to bid on the project will come. Chipboard will be here, make sure they understand the specs and everything, and then they will be required to have their bids in by June 15th at 2 p.m. At that point, we will get all those. Chip will go through them, make sure that we have the qualified ones, and then a recommendation will come to the DDA at your June meeting. My goal is to have have a ceremonial groundbreaking probably the Monday after 4th of July. So we'll get y'all hard hats and all that, and you get to go out there and take pictures. And
Well, that'll be a lovely picture.
y'all are a beautiful bunch, I tell you.
Do you know what kind of interest may be out there that we're getting on this?
It's pretty significant. I mean, most of the calls and stuff are going to Chip. I mean, we do get a call every now and then. Of course, I've seen contractors out there on top of the roof last week, so people are already looking at it, doing their measurements and all of that stuff. So they're probably not legally on top of the roof, but I've seen them out there.
Okay, all right,
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn then?
so moved.
Second?
All in favor? 6:56, Tracy,
Awesome.
That's what you call getting it done.
getting it done.